Welcome back, everybody. What I want to do is continue on from last week in the desktop application that we did in C Sharp. And I'm actually running this right now. And what you can see is that we've got teacher information and also what faculty that they teach in. So we've got, first name, last name, status, whether they're part-time, full-time, or partial load, their email, phone number, and this drop down here that is for which faculty they actually teach in. And across the top, you can see that we can scroll through. And when we scroll through with the buttons, you see that the column, the row is actually highlighted as we traverse through this list. When we can go to the very end and we can go to the very beginning. So these controls work based on the number of inputs that we have, or sorry, people that we're storing in the database. And also notice that across the top, they also continue to scroll through as well. Okay, and the other thing that we did last time was if I do an add new and I select that, you can see that all of these boxes here, they they get cleared out, and I can write in super man, and he teaches, we'll say full-time, super dot man at supermail.com. His phone number is, I don't know, we'll just say 5555 or 222-3333. And if I don't do all the selections, I do get some pop-ups. So if I try and do the update, okay, you see that it says, please fill in the faculty. So I'm going to say that let's go with engineering and then do an update. Do you want to add a new employee record? Yes or no? And you notice that I've got the boxes, yes or no, and I've got this message on the top of my box. So then I say yes. Data has been saved into, okay? And we're going to close that connection now, right? And so what you're seeing is right down on the bottom is Superman full-time super.man at, so all the stuff we put in plus engineering. Okay, so that's what our application does right now. You'll also notice that we've incremented the number of records. We previously had 7, we now have 8. Superman has an employee ID now of 19. Okay, and again, I can traverse through the entire record one by one, or go to the very end. I can back up, or I can go to the very beginning. Okay, so some of the things that we don't have yet is the ability to update a record. So for example, this person here in my test example last time, I just put a bunch of garbage in there. Now, today, what I want to be able to do is update that record. And after we do the update on that, I think what I'm going to then try to do is just add the functionality to our delete button. Okay, and if we're really, really lucky in this video, what I might be able to do is install a button with the capability to do a search, okay, to search for a name. Okay, so anyway, that's where we're at with this project so far. So let's get into the code and start adding the update. So right now our update is actually kind of acting as if though it's a save, but I want to be able to modify text in the row and then update that as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to double click on the update button. Okay, and it takes me into my code here, this tool strip button update _ click. And what I need to do is sort of scroll down to where we worked on this before. And I'm in this sort of update area. Okay, and this is binding navigator add new item dot text dot equals add new. So I'm probably going to do some work in here. So in here, the user will actually have to go in and select a row that they want to update. Okay, and we have to be able to sort of capture what is being selected in order to do an update. And so when we run this, what I'm really talking about is, let's say, you know, for example, this column here is the one I want. I need to select that first in order to do some updating on it. Okay, so we're going to select the record, and then we're going to choose which ID it is that's actually going to be updated. Okay, so let me close out of that and go to this in here. And, you know, obviously, if I'm selecting something, that suggests off the bat right there an if. What is the condition? So we're going to say if something. Okay, so let's look at what that syntax is. So in this case, we're going to have a condition where one thing or the other is going to happen. So we're going to say if auto, let's see, if I spell properly, it always helps. Auto ID, what was it? It's been a week since I looked at it. Employee ID. Okay. So I got to go and look at it because I can't remember what it was from when I originally recorded. So text box employee ID. So if I go back to where I was, not here. So right here. So put that in, and it should be dot text dot trim. Okay, and if this is equal to an empty string. Okay, or, which is two pipes, or what's the other condition? String dot is null or empty. And in here, I'm going to put in text box employee ID dot text dot trim. And end that there. And I got to put a semicolon. So let me move all this stuff out of the way. Do I have the right number of brackets? I think I'm missing one. Okay. And in fact, I don't need brackets because this is an if statement. So what I need is brackets like this. Okay, and so far so good. So to make this code right for checking the employee ID, we definitely need a return statement in here. Okay, but above the return statement, what I want to put in a message box. Message box, and I want this to say in quotations, double quotations, a colon there, semicolon. Please select an item from the data grid view. Now, let me put some space in there because I don't know that your average user is going to understand that. Okay. And now the next thing I want to do is ask my user if they really want to update data. Okay. So, you know, again, if they do, it presents an if conditional statement for me. So the way this is going to look outside of that if statement is we're actually going to start off with a message box. Okay. So we can do this message box.show, and inside those brackets, we're going to go with, we're going to say ID with a colon and a little bit of a space, because we're going to do this idea of concatenation again, right? So a plus sign, and what was the text box employee ID dot text dot trim, and trim is a method, and we'll do another concatenation with another message. And here we're going to say do you want to update the record? Do you want to update the record? Question mark. And after that bracket there, we're gonna let me move this over so you can see it a little better. Right after that, you know, in the middle of the bracket, we're gonna say equals dialog result dot no. Okay, and then I'm literally going to put in a return statement. Now, I think I know what my issue is on that line. But for now, let's just do this. Okay. And I think the issue's right here. Okay, but let's look at the error message. What does it say? Left-hand side of an assignment must be a variable, property, or index. And it's telling me that obviously, you know, where the red line is. Okay, 236. So left-hand side of an assignment. So, you know, we've only got an assignment in here. We have one assignment. And really, you know, just by looking at that, the clue is that left-hand side of an assignment must be a variable. Okay, which it, you know, we're doing a if statement. So an if statement is a condition. You're comparing one situation over another. And so therefore we need to have two. Okay, and this is what eliminates my error right now. So the way they'll see this is, you know, they'll see what the ID is, and then they'll say, okay, do you want to update this selected record? And the answer is going to be yes or no. And if the answer equals no, then just return. It's basically going to be like a cancel. Okay, now watch this. I can make this incredibly complicated if I really, really want to. Okay, so I get to the end of my record here, and I go outside the quotation. I can completely add to this. Okay, and in here I can put in two quotes and say C# and SQL Server. Okay, and this is sort of a note to myself, update. Okay, and let me scroll over there. I know this is getting really long. I can put in a comma, and then I can say message box button. Okay, or buttons. So I can add that, and that's going to be a dot yes, no. Okay, and then I can put in another comma. So this thing can start to really get kind of out of control. I can now say message box icon. Okay, dot question. Now even it should be a dot, not a comma. Dot question. Not stop, question. Let me scroll over again. Okay, and then I can do even another comma and say message box default button. Message box default button dot button 2. Okay, so you can see how long I can make all this stuff. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to run it. And we'll see if there's actually any, you know, errors or anything. So let's hit the update button. What's it say? Okay. ID 12. So it defaulted to the very first one because you can see that the arrow is there. And I need a space there. So ID 12, do you want to update the record? So no. Okay, and I just closed the connection off to my database. Now let's try it again. Okay, so let's select a different one. Let's select this one here, number 14. So update. Okay, ID 14. Do you want to update the record? No. Okay, close that. Let's try 17. Let's pick anywhere on 17, update. Yeah, it selects ID number 17. Do you want to update this record? So no. Okay, so there's more to this, obviously. Now, one thing I definitely want to do is I want to add a space right in here. Okay, because that was held kind of uptight against the actual number that it was outputting. There was no space in between. Okay, so what we want to do now, after all of this part, is similar to what we've done before, right? With our DB command. Okay, what's another example where we've used it? Maybe up top. I'm looking for DB command. I don't know if I'll easily find it. Okay, here's an example right here. For the insert, when we wanted to insert a new record in, okay, we had DB command equals insert into, and then DB SQL, and then we said insert into teachers table, all that stuff. So it's relatively similar to what we're doing right here. We just have to go and match it for what we want to do now because we're doing an update. Okay, so it will be a DB command update. Okay, and then we're going to add the where clause into what we're doing. Okay, so we're back where we were in this in the update section, and we're going to just do DB command and equals update. Okay, with a semicolon, and then below that, we're going to do this where clause. Okay, this is SQL kind of stuff. So we're going to say db dot SQL. Okay, very similar because it's right down here, right? DB SQL equals SQL equals. It's going to be this whole entire SQL script that we're going to run. So update. Okay. And which table was that? Update teachers table. Okay. And we're going to say update teachers table V, and we'll say set first name, okay, equals at first name. Okay, so it's kind of similar to what we did down here. But we did first name, and then we said the values would be at first name. Okay, so instead in this case, we're going to say set first name equals at first name. So what I could literally do is, why don't I just take this line, just like this one here. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to modify it for what I need. Okay, so I'll do this inside those brackets, and then I'm going to modify this. So first name. Okay, I want to get rid of values, and this bracket, I'll clean everything up. I'm going to say first name equals at first name. Okay, and we'll put a little bit of space in there so there's no confusion. So then we're going to say last name equals at last name. So in fact, I'll control X that, and we'll say equals at last name. Okay, and of course, in between these, I want to use a comma. Okay, so what's next? So status equals at status. Okay, I'm really literally just reformatting this stuff, and then I'll clean it up. So equals, okay, phone equals, and then faculty X, and let's kind of I'm hoping that this syntax is proper right now. Get rid of all of this stuff here. All right. And at the end, I don't actually, in fact, I don't think I even need the bracket. I can do this, and I don't need a comma at the end of faculty or at faculty. Okay, so that should be my entire command there. There could be a bug or two in it. We'll find out. So I'm not entirely done here because I, said this was going to be our where clause. So I have to say where, and I look at the tables, my teacher's table, and the name of this column is auto ID. So auto ID. Okay. And this is going to equal at ID, but I'm not sure of the syntax yet. And there's a way that I can check that. But, the next thing I've got to do is my command parameters. So I'm going to Control C this, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to do it up here too. Okay, and remember last time I said there was a way to kind of check the parameters in this. So if I hold the Control key and then I click on this, it takes me to it, right? So what do I have in here that equals my ID that I'm looking for? So it turns out that this is what I need. Okay, it's not just ID, it's faculty ID, right? So where were we? We were a little bit further south here, were we not? For update. So if I go to here, it's not ID, it's faculty ID. Okay, and I'm still not 100% sure about the auto ID. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Okay, so if I go to debug, and I'm going to go to the one that was all sort of messed up, number 17 here, and I go to here, and I don't know what's a name, Joe Black. Status, he is full time. His email is jb@email.com. His phone number is 123-123-1598, and he teaches in health sciences. So let's see what happens if we update. Okay, do you want to update the record? Yes. Data has been saved, update. Okay, close that connection, and you can see now number 17 has in fact actually been updated. Okay, so I'm pretty happy about that happened so quickly. Usually it takes me about 5 hours to deal with small issues that you guys don't see. So just to confirm, the one thing I want to do is we updated number 7. I'm going to close this, and I'm actually going to go into teachers and view data inside our teachers. And what do you see? Yeah, it wasn't 7, it was 17, and you can see that it did actually persist in our table. Okay, so luckily that worked out really well for us. Okay, let me try see if it'll let me update data in here. If I were to try and do some typing in there, and it let's see. Okay, so I can actually go in here, obviously, which is what I expected, and to change that to full-time. Okay, and let me just tab through there. Okay, and the error goes away. I'll hit save, do a refresh on there. Okay, and remember at number 17, I changed it to full hyphen capital time, right? So if I go back out and I run this, do I still have a good solid relationship between the two? And you can see right there that I do. All right, so we're testing that our data, we can manipulate the database itself, but we can also manipulate the front end of this application. Okay, now at this point, what I want to be able to do is actually make this delete button work. Okay, because we don't actually have that functioning yet. So right in here, I'm just going to double click on the delete, and you can see that it brings me to binding navigator, delete item, click. Okay, and then it sets up my method very nicely for me to continue with. Now, before I get to that, I actually want to uh, do a check to see if I'm adding a new record. And the reason is because when I click on this button, so let's actually do this. Okay, when I click on add new, you're going to see that, remember, it changes to cancel. Okay, so now the button says cancel. So I want to check that I'm adding a new record first before I do any delete stuff. Okay, so let me close that down. Let's go to our code, and right above my delete, I'm gonna say private bool is adding new record. Okay, there. Okay, is that existing somewhere else? Nope. I've got that squiggly line there, and why am I getting this? Show potential fixes, remove user member, replace, suppress. I'm gonna just hold off on this. I know what the answer is. So into here, we're gonna say if, because we're doing this to check a condition. Okay, and this is going to be if binding binding navigator add new item dot text is equal to cancel. Okay, then what? Okay, first off, I'm going to do a message box, and my message box will be a message box.show. And what am I going to say inside the show? Please cancel adding new record first. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now we need to deal with this red squiggly line here. And, the data type is a bool. Okay, and a bool is always evaluated down to true or false. Okay, so we're going to say return true. Okay, and then down here we're going to say else return false. Okay, and you can see all the errors for that particular one go away. All right, so obviously I wrote that method there first for a good reason. So I'm gonna copy it, because down in here I want to do this condition again. Okay, so here inside my if, I'm gonna say adding new record is true. Okay, then what? That's odd. Okay. And I just need to return. So really quickly, if we just test this out, we know that our add new button has to say cancel for this condition. All right. So when we run this, and if I select delete, nothing happens. Okay. All we've done is we're trying to address this add new. So if I say add new, you can see that the button itself turned to cancel, and now I want to do a delete. And it says, please cancel adding new records first with a spelling mistake. Okay, so let's go fix that spelling mistake. I think that's the only one who knows. Save that and keep going. Okay, so getting more into this, first thing that we do need to do though, once we've done that first little part in the middle, is we actually have to open up our connection now. So if I say db dot open connection, that's the first thing I've got to do in here. Okay, so then after that, we're going to do a try tab tab. Okay, and get rid of the throw. But after my catch, I want to do finally. And in my finally, I'm going to close the connection. Okay, so this will be a db.close connection. All right. What's wrong with my try? Looks like something weird happened with editing. Okay, so what we have just done is actually, for the update, we can do something almost identical with our delete. Okay, so if we go to where we had the update, not the insert, what I can do is actually take a huge chunk of this and now apply it to our delete. Okay, so I think I'm in my I'm update here. So if I go to where do I want to take this from? I think everything from here, and in fact, I'm going to include the note. All of this piece here, I think I'm going to take. So I'm going to control copy all of that. And I'm going to come all the way back down to where we were doing our delete item. And I'm in my delete and I'm going to paste it inside my try. Okay. And I'm going to change this. Okay. And let's start doing some modifications now. Now, in fact, I can take this piece here and I can duplicate it. I can control C this and go right up in here between the two. I probably should have just done a control X on that one. Okay, control KD because I screwed up the formatting. Okay, and now I've got some pretty good updating to do. Okay, first off, I want to definitely do change this to delete. This here I want to say, do you want to delete? And I'm going to put it in capitals, delete the record. Okay, is there anything in here else I want to do? Okay, so this part here is really, this try block happens if I think the answer is going to be no. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go down a line, and if they, let's say, select yes. I did not spell that at all. Select yes. Okay, then we're going to do db command. And if that's equal to yes, delete, sorry. Then we're going to do our db.sql. And this SQL command is not that complicated compared to the other one that we did. It's just literally going to be delete from where? What was the other one that we deleted from? Okay, similar sort of thing. Teachers table. Okay, and what were we using for auto ID? Okay, we were using facility ID or faculty ID, sorry. Okay, so faculty ID. So we're going to delete from faculty ID, or sorry, the faculty table or teacher table. Sorry, I'm getting all confused. It's late at night. Okay, and where where what? So where, and I just got it from above from the update. So where auto ID equals faculty ID. Okay, and we finish this off here with a semicolon. So just so that's clear, the one reason why it's such a short command compared to the other ones up here, the reason being is because we're just selecting by the ID, okay, by its primary key, and we're saying, okay, you've got the primary key, take that and everything else with it. Okay, so that's why it seems to be such a short command. So what we need to do also now is similar to the last video, is db.cmd, okay, and that is dot parameters, and it's parameters dot clear, okay, and you can see it here, and that's a method. And then the next thing is going to be db.cmd dot command text is going to be equal to this DB SQL right here. Okay, so let me just grab that and semicolon. And we have one more to do, and this will be db dot cmd dot parameters. Oh wow. Okay. What would we do without Control Z? So dot parameters dot add with value, and that value is going to be faculty ID. Faculty. No, it needs to be in here. Faculty ID and a comma. And then it's, what was the text box that we used? This one here. Dot text dot trim. And I need a semicolon. So previously in the last video, we used this execute non-query, and I actually need that now. And so I'm going to go up and try and find that where we made it last time. If you're curious, I'm looking for something with a minus, not equal to -1. Okay, so it's up here somewhere. I just have to locate it. And here it is. It's up near my insert. Okay, it's all of this section here. I need to get that, and I need to copy it, because there's no point in reinventing the wheel when I can just re-execute some code that I've already done in the past. And I go back to where I just was, and I'm gonna paste that in there. And it looks like I've got to do some editing already. Data has been deleted. Okay, and since I'm not doing this, I can take this line out. Okay. Control KD and Control S to save everything. I need to go down here and just before this DB close connection, I need to clear the DB command. Okay, and the way I'll do that is I just set it to an empty string, nothing. Now we've got the catch block in there, so we might as well use it. So EX, I need to put in a variable there, and I'm gonna say message box dot show. And what am I gonna write in here? I'm gonna say delete delete data error. Okay, and put a semi or a colon in there with a space, and then a plus ex dot message. Okay. Okay, let's give this a test. So debug start without testing. I'm going to do add new. It's in the cancel state, right? And what about delete? Okay, please cancel adding new record first. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that and get out of it. I'm going to hit delete on the first one, and it's selecting number 12. Do you want to delete this record? Right now, I'm going to say no. Close the connection. And I'm going to go to this one here, number 18, and I'm going to try and delete that because it's garbage values. 18, do you want to delete this record? Yes. Data has been deleted, and close the connection. Okay. And you can see that 18 is actually gone. It has been deleted. So I'm pretty pleased that, again, something worked out really well. So now that I've done that, what I'm going to do is get out of there. And remember, we deleted the garbage on for auto ID 18. So I'm going to close that off. And I'm going to go to my database, teacher, tables, and I want to view data. Okay, sorry, that was for faculty. I want the one for teacher, view data. And yes, 18 is gone. So all of these look like normal plain text English. The garbage one is gone. So that's awesome. Now, one thing I'm going to do here, now that I know that that's all working, and I'm, going to do a save all. I'm in my designer again, and if I click beside that, I'm going to do a new button. And my new button text is going to say, it's going to say update, not update, refresh. Okay, it's going to say refresh. At the top, button 1, it's going to just be refresh. Okay, and what about my image? Do I like that image, or can I change out that image? Import. Right here's a refresh that I had already. I'm going to select that, and you can see that it's the icon is there. But I think with this, what I wanted to still do was display image and the text together, right? And so let's test that out and see what it looks like. Okay, so there's our refresh button, and it has no functionality whatsoever. So I'll close that, close it. I'm going to double click on this, and it brings me to here. All right, so now that we're in here, we're going to do a condition. Okay, so if is adding new record. Okay, if that's happening, I lost one of my brackets, but if that's happening, then we're at true. If that's happening, then what? Okay, what is our condition? We're just going to return right now. All right, if that's actually happening. And so outside of that, we're going to say update data binding. Update data binding. We're going to do that. And you'll remember we did that last time. And then we're going to do this. Is it keyword text box? Keyword. Let's see. I'm not sure if I even made this yet. Hold on. Okay, I'm not really ready to do that keyword text box right now, because that's something I'm thinking about doing momentarily, but it's not kind of set up. So if I were to say, let's test this out. Let's select a record here and what happens. So if I do a refresh, it did do some sort of updating, but let's say I want to change, I'm going to change this one. So I want to update Superman. Yeah, do I want to update it? Yes. Update Superman, but I actually haven't done anything. I actually select it here and say woman. Okay, and now update. Do you want to update this record? Data has been saved, close. And I wanted to do a refresh. And I want to kind of demonstrate that. And I think the other way I can do that is by going into my teacher database. Okay, because if you see here, it's still set as Superman. It's not been changed to Superwoman. Okay, so I'm going to change this to Super Dog. Okay, and see what happens here. I'll refresh this. Okay, Super Dog. Okay, what happens here? Okay. Okay. Okay, so what I didn't do was actually hit this update button here on my database, and then it did pick up Superwoman. But if I do Super Dog, tab, 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 okay, and now I've got it here, but let's go out to the application. Let's run this. Okay, and unfortunately you're seeing it happen, but this actually does work when we do the refresh button. Okay. Okay, so the one thing I do definitely know is if I do an add new record and nothing's here, and then I say refresh, I do get this message, please cancel add new records first. Okay, so I cancel that. Okay, so luckily that piece, there wasn't a lot of code to that, but it is actually working the way I want it to work. And maybe it'll be a little bit more clear in a bit. And I think the last thing I might try and do here is add like a new search button. So I can type in this keyword and then run a search. Okay, so when I do this, I'm gonna have to actually add the button, add the text box, let the user type something in that they're looking for, and then hit the search button. Okay, but I'm not there yet. So that's, I think, the next thing I'm going to try. So I think what I'm going to do for this now is I'm going to add some search functionality. And to do that, I think what I can, a great idea now that I've got the first group box, I think what I'm going to do is literally copy and paste that first group box. I'm going to drop it to the bottom and then do some reformatting of that group box. Okay, so I'm making sure that I've got the whole entire group box, and I'm doing a Control C and a Control V, and I'm going to move it down under here. And then I'm going to just do some editing in here. And I really don't need a lot of this. So all of this I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to change the name or the text of the group box, and I'm going to call it search. EARCH. Okay, I'm just going to change it to search. It doesn't need to be as big as it is, I don't think. Okay, and do I need employees? The problem with my employees one is it's got a lot of information associated with it. So what I want to do is start over with that, because I don't want to have any legacy code attached to those items there. So this one I can take out, this text box, but the label I can, I think the smartest thing to do to avoid any future errors is just to take that out completely. Okay. So I'm going to use two radio buttons. Just looking in the R's radio buttons. I'm going to use two radio buttons. So one here, copy, paste. I'll put that right underneath. Okay, two radio buttons. And I need a combo box because I had the one there, but I just don't think that's the smartest thing that I should be doing. Okay, I'll just drop it in there, move it over out of the way. In fact, you know what? Let me space this out a little bit better so it's just a little more better balanced here, and then maybe here. Can I open this up a little more and move that? So just a little bit of tweaking. That's all I'm trying to do there. So this one I'm going to change to radio button find by ID. So find by ID. Okay, that's the one I'm going to set that first one to. And down in my text, we'll change that to find teacher by ID. Okay, there's one. And the other one will be find by faculty. Okay, radio button 2, find by faculty. Okay, and the name will say find teacher by faculty. Okay. And this one I'm going to change to combo box find by faculty. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to have a look at it and see if I like it at all. I'm not really sure that looks very nice to me. I might have to do something because I just don't really like the look of that so much. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this much smaller. Okay, I'm going to make the entire form bigger. And I'm going to move this whole thing over, I think. And I'll move this slightly down. Maybe I can shrink this. Let me fix that because it doesn't seem to want to cooperate so much there. Okay. If I shrink that down and I take all these items and I move them in there a little better. Okay, maybe widen it just a bit more. Actually, I was going to put it on the side, but I'm thinking maybe I can do it over here. And then I'll kind of balance that out somewhat. And move this more to the middle, if I can. Okay, and I need to move it down just slightly, and I think I'll bring this up. See if I can bring that up a little bit. Move this over. That might be a little bit better. Although I'm not crazy about how much I'm shrinking this. Okay, let's have one more look at this. Debug. Okay, so it's okay for now, I think, but I could do tweaking later if I want to. But for now, I've got my search. I'm okay with that. I can live with it. So the next thing I do want, though, is a text box. Okay, I'm going to put a text box in here. And I'm going to put a button right beside it. So I'm going to actually, I'm going to move this over. Move this here too. I think I'll make this a little bit bigger. Change this to BTN search. And I'll go down to here and change this to search. Okay, so it's going to be a search button. And this here will be changed to text box keyword. Okay, so the intent here is you type in a keyword here and you do a search for that. Okay. And I don't need a label on there, or I don't need to change any text. There isn't really a property to do that. So I do have an icon for this, for the search. So I think I'm going to actually add that in there, especially because I took the time to go and find it. Okay, and this right here, I think will be okay. Okay, maybe not that one. Maybe I should use the other one that I actually found. This little one. See if that one works. It's not that great. I might just not end up doing it. I've got to change this middle align, so I want to put that to the side. And I think, yeah, I've got text and image set together. And I think the text looks like it's a little bit in the way. So let's see if I can move that over slightly. I guess that's good enough for now. I can live with that. So let's have a quick look. Okay, so we've got the search button with the text. Okay. I can live with it. Okay, so I have done a little bit of tweaking here, but I'm not going to win any graphic art awards for the way this looks. Okay, so yeah, it's good enough. I can live with it. So I'm also going to expand this. I think what I want to make sure, no, that's not it. That's not what I wanted. I want to make sure that the size of the font is a little more reasonable than that. So let's just go with a 12 and let's see what happens. Okay, so the box itself opens up, right? And that's because somebody's going to be typing in something and that you want them to be able to see it. Okay, I want to have one quick look at it. Okay, and it's relatively okay from there, but when I actually expand it out completely, I think it looks absolutely terrible. But I'm not a graphic artist. But the one thing I can do is I'm going to select that and I'm going to go to my anchor, and you can see here, remember we set these. So I'm going to turn those two off, the right and the bottom. I'm going to test this out. Okay, and how's it? Okay, so to me, that looks a little bit less intrusive. You know, it's like looking at a beautiful house, but the majority of the front elevation is a garage. Okay, it looks terrible. So that to me looked like we had a massive garage in front of a decent looking house. Okay, so I'll turn that off and I'm going to leave it that way. Okay. Okay, so when we were doing all the code for this, we went into here and we had our refresh. Now what we have to do is actually go in here and then clear that out. So if, for example, we're doing any updates or doing any property, functions or anything like that in the application, we need to actually be able to clear this out, whatever has been written in there. So if we go back to here and we got our keyword text box, the box that we just created, we're gonna just call a clear function. Okay, so that's kind of how we're going to handle that issue at the moment. Okay, so one last time, let's have a quick look at it. Okay, and I can type stuff in here, hit the search bar, nothing happens because I don't have anything for it. Okay, but if I do update, do you want to update the record? Sure. Okay, so nothing's been broken. Okay, nothing there, but now when we've got the refresh button, you'll see that this should disappear. So there, I hit the refresh button, it did all that stuff, and then based on that last bit of code, the clear button, it cleared this out, okay? So I'm going to go back to my form, and I'm actually going to double click on this Find Teacher by ID. I'll double click, brings me to here. And let's go ahead and make sure we remember what that one is called. What is my radio button Find by ID? I'm just going to copy that because I know I'm going to need it soon. Let me move my DB over here as well. Okay, so I'm going to do this. If Find by ID, if that's the radio button that's selected, then what? Okay, so we want to definitely check to see if it's checked. Okay, and if it's checked, we say equals true. And if it is, what'll happen is, the radio button will turn black, right? And if it's not, then that means some other situation is happening. Okay, we just got to figure out what the other situation is. So we're going to do this. That one there, dot, it's for color. And we're going to set that to color dot red. Okay, and we're going to copy all that because I know I'm going to use it. And we're going to put it in here and change this to black. There. So the next thing I'm actually going to do, now that I have that one, is I'm going to do the exact same thing for my other radio button. So I'm going to go to here and double click on it. And it's going to create this other method for me to follow. So I'm going to take all of this inside of here, copy, paste, and now I need to just make sure I'm using the proper radio button. So when I go to this one, I'm going to take all that, copy, go back and modify the button, the radio button that I'm using. Okay, good. So one thing I need to actually do is I did kind of make a fundamental kind of stupid error, to be perfectly honest with you. What I'm going to do is actually take this box that we have for faculty over here, and I think I'm actually just going to put it over here. Okay, because what I want is for these properties, once they're selected, to have an input or an impact on this combo box. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep the name. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, but now I'm going to delete that. I guess it doesn't matter, right? I can't do what I wanted to do. What I'm going to do now is I have to copy this, paste it, put it in here. And the reason is because, this one has all of those properties associated with it. And combo box find by faculty, right? So if I try this out and I start, okay, it's not grabbing what I was hoping for. It doesn't have the data in it that I was hoping for. Anyway, let's keep going because when I select this search by faculty, I want this stuff to be here. Okay, and you'll see here, notice that the button turns black, but the text turns red. Okay, so when I do that search, so whichever one I'm searching is actually now turning to red. Okay, I changed the text. So we did that already, but I'm not satisfied with that. So, I didn't really have to do all that deleting stuff that I did previous, but one of the issues is I haven't done the actual data binding to this dropdown now. And so that's why it's not doing it. So I have to get back in there and do the complex data binding to this dropdown. So I am back in the complex data binding. So update data binding is where I am here. And I have to go pretty far down to the bottom. You know, we did the data binding for the for this box here for faculty. And I've got to do a little bit of work in here as well. But right after my catch block, right after this, now I can do finally. And in here, I've got to add a little bit before I can proceed. So if, and what did we call this? What did we call this? What's the name of that one? Combo box, find faculty ID. No, not that one there. I actually need this one. So I've got to do a little bit of updating there. So text box keyword. So I'm going to select that, go back to here, and it's going to be if text box keyword dot can select. Okay, then what? Then I'm going to say text box keyword dot select and just sort of leave it at that right now. Okay. So, you know, now what my goal really is to make sure that I can use this combo box, right? Because I can use it in here, and we've done all that data binding for all of this. So when we run it, we can do the drop down here. And this is what I want appearing over here as well. Okay, so we've got to do more data binding, but we'll do it slightly different, obviously. Okay, because we want that to drop down so that we can actually do a search on what it is that we're dropping down by. Okay, so let's get into the code and have a look at that. So you can see that we're still in our data binding, update data binding. We're still in this section. I've done this little keyword select thing, and that'll come in later. But right here at the bottom of all this, what we've done before is I'm going to say if btn equals null, right? Then what? Then I've got a whole bunch of copy and paste and edit that I can do right now. So right now it just means that the search option it's not been added yet. So let's go and do a big copy and paste and edit. So I'm going to take all of this, okay, and I'm not going to add the note on complex data binding. Okay, so I'm going to take all that, copy, and I'm going to put it right here in here, inside that if statement. Okay, and now we've got some editing to do. Okay, my first error that I'm going to change is going to be this row 1. I'll just change it to 2. I think what I'll do also here is I'm going to take this entire line, okay, everything here, copy that. I'm going to put that in here, V, and I'll delete this line. Okay. Okay, and then right here, I'll change this to search faculty. So SEARCH, do that in camel case, search faculty. And so any of the other data sets, I'm going to change those to search faculty. Okay, so here's one, here's a data set here. Here, we'll see if I have any outstanding ones. Here's one here I almost missed. So I am going to create a new data set. So I'll do that right here. Okay, right under my select command. And this is really just going to be DB. So DB dot, what do I want to say? No, it's not quite the way I should do this. I will say data set, data set, and we'll say data st. Okay, we'll just create it like this, and then we'll say new data set. Okay, semicolon. So now I'm going to take that new data set, copy, and I'm going to replace it. Okay, so notice here, I'm not getting the one from the database here. I'm just going to replace that and hope that that's not a mistake. I've got this row 2 right here that I want to change, or row 1, change that to row 2. Okay. Here's another that I want to change right here. Just like that. I see another one right here. And I think there's one more maybe. And it is right here. Okay. And I'm actually going to take out this entire row. I don't need this add to the data bindings. So for the searching only, we have this new data set. Okay. And that's what it's only for. So we're just importing data to that bottom combo box just so that we can do searching. Okay, it's not actually, we're not doing this so that we can send it over to our actual database, which is why I took out this db.dataset. Okay, so it's just locally for the purposes of doing the search functionality. So it's definitely not going to do anything yet because I need to know what the name of that is. So this combo box right here, I need to copy that, go back to my code, and you'll see here that I've got the wrong combo boxes, right? So change these. And of course, I didn't change this to row 2, which I should. And this one as well. Okay, so change those to row 2. I'm going to save that and run this. Okay, so you can see that we do have it in a drop down now. Okay, so that's actually working, which is really good. Okay, so that works, but there's one mod that I do want to make on here, and I think I should put it just because I think it's proper programming. Okay, up here I do have this my MySQL, and since these are the exact same lines of code right here, I should seriously be more efficient with what I'm doing here. Okay, so this shouldn't be this should really match. Okay, so what I will do is I'll take this out. I'll override that and be more efficient with my code. Okay, because you know you should never be writing the same lines of code if you can possibly help it. So that's what I did there, was sort of bad programming practice. So this is much more better practice. Okay. So when I run this, let's just do a quick debug on this. Just notice here that this will continue to update as I select. Okay, but notice this does not. Okay, because this is a separate entity altogether. While it's similar in the fact that I'm binding data from the database table for faculty, it is a completely separate entity. All right. So this is literally just being used to do a search. So if I had hundreds or thousands of records in here, I would use this very quickly to narrow down my search parameters. And that's the intent of this. Okay, so back down here in our code, back to our 2 radio buttons. Okay, we need to do some stuff here when I select this radio button here for Find Teacher by Faculty, then I want to be able to enable this combo box. Okay. So up in here, this section here, I've got radio button Find by Faculty, right? This, which is this one here, Find by Faculty. So I'm going to go back to that, and here, right when it's changed to red, what I want is, what's the name of that box now? I have to do this because I just don't seem to remember what these are called. So I'm going to do this, select that combo box, and then I'm going to say enable, enabled, and we'll set that to true. And if it's not checked, if the other button is checked, then what I'm going to do is close it. So therefore I set this to false. Okay. So let's test this out. Okay, if we do a debug, I'm going to select this, and it drops down, which is strange because I don't want it to. And then it does this, but now if I go back, okay, you can see now it's turning off. That's interesting. Not sure why that is happening, but there's something obviously in my logic, right? So I need to go and find a spot up here. So I'm looking for the for each for the next group box. Okay. So I do have a few edits that I have to come back and make now. Okay, so I'm back at the very top of update data binding, and I've got to do radio button, RBD, or should I do yeah, just like this. Okay, we'll do this, and we've got some updates we really have to do first. So we're here, we did all this stuff before with group box 1, but we've got to do some stuff with group box 3, because this is now, as you know, group box 3. So what I'm going to do is do another for each loop inside of group box number 3. And so I think what I will do is copy all of this. I'm going to copy it, go right below. I'm going to paste, and everything's going to get ugly because, you know, I need to do some formatting here. So I'll change that to group box 3. Okay, and then I can do some editing here because this is not, you know, just for one little piece of this. I have a couple of considerations here. So let's look and see what's in group box 3. We have 2 radio buttons and a combo box, right? So we have to sort of do a little bit of editing to fix those pieces. So right off the top, if I've got my combo box 3 controls, so if C get type equals data type of, I don't have a text box. I actually have a combo box. Okay, so that's one thing that I had to change. So let's change this here. Okay, and this is a CMBO. Okay, so CMBO for combo box. Copy here and here. And this line I can leave, but this one I'm going to want to change. So is this more appropriate right here? I think this line here. Okay, I can take this and actually think I will Control X this one. And I'm going to replace this line. Control V. And then we're going to go into the else if, and let's say type of radio button. Okay, so radio button, and then we can do some edits here. Now, what did I call it up top? Okay, copy. go down to here, make sure we're in combo 3, and let's change this, okay, to radio button. And of course, this is a radio button as well. Change that to radio button. And then we're going to put this statement in here. I don't need to have this, but what I'm going to do is say, if btn is equal to null, okay, then we'll do something here. What we'll do is we'll do, okay, dot check, oh, not comma, dot checked right here equals false. Okay, and if you're wondering where does this button come from, remember it's right here at the very top. Okay, it's part of our update data binding. Okay, so I'm back down in combo box 3, and I think I need to do a little bit of editing inside of here as well. Okay, because, you know, we came to this point in the code because we had that one problem with the fact that when we were trying to select this, the box wasn't being turned off. Okay, it was still being enabled until we touched the other one. Then we went back to it and then it was working. So that's what we're really trying to solve right now. So now what I want to do is go back up into my if statement, and I'm going to do another if. And in here, I'm going to say if my btn is null, then what I want to do is combo dot enabled equals false. And that should probably do it. So let's test this out now. Okay, so you see right off, you know, as soon as it opens up, you see that nothing is selected in either radio button, but the combo box is actually disabled. When I hit find teacher by ID, it remains disabled. But when I switch now to find teacher by faculty, it does open up and it drops down. So that's exactly what we want right now. Okay, so the next thing is we want to finally get to the search button. So let's just go to our form, double click that, and it's going to bring us right to where we can start putting the functionality to that. Okay, first thing we do want to do inside this method is check a condition. And that first condition is adding new record. Okay, we did that previously. And we're going to set this to if it's true. Okay, are you trying to add a new record? Okay, and then just return. Okay, so then after that, we've got to open up the connection. Okay, so db.open connection. So after this, let's do a try tab, creates the whole block. After the catch, we're going to do finally. And in the finally, we're going to db.close. Okay. Okay, and not only that, with the finally, what we're going to do is focus on that particular list, that text box. So we want it to be focused. So if inside here we have what is it called now? I can't remember. This one here, it's called, and I need the exact name. Copy. If keyword text box keyword dot can focus, then keyword text box dot focus. So that should focus it on that search. So if we've got an exception, let's put in a message there. get rid of this. And we're going to just say a message box dot show. And inside here, we're going to say search error. Okay, put in a little space, close out the quotation, put a plus, and then just ex.message and semicolon at the end. So we're going to do check a couple of conditions here, right? So we've got if this one's checked, then it's going to have an impact on this text box right here. Okay, so we've got to go through a couple of conditions within our code right up here in our try. And if all those conditions are met, then, you know, some magic happens. So the first one is going to be a double. We're going to test two things here. So if radio button find by ID dot checked is equal to false, and what's the other one called now? This one, if my radio button find by faculty dot checked, actually, hang on. Yep, checked equals false. Then what? So what happens if either one of them are checked? Okay, so we go inside our if, and we've got another condition. Okay, and that other condition is going to be a string. Okay, string dot is not, or is null or empty. Okay, and inside that method, text box keyword right here, so I don't have to go out and find it, dot text dot trim. Okay. Okay, so that's one situation. Now, what I'm going to do is, if that's the case, is do my update data binding. So it should be update data binding. So let's go and look at update data binding. What's in update data binding? So it takes me to this, and you can see I have two parameters to pass into that. Okay. So let's go back to where we were, which is a long way to the bottom. Okay, so the first one that I need, I'm gonna just put in a null. And then the next thing that I need is I gotta go out to here, and what is this one called? Okay, button search. Nice and simple. Copy. Okay. And we're good there. And then we're just going to do a return. So let's go have a look at this and see what the result is. So I don't have anything selected. I am focused inside here. I click on it. I can type in here. So everything's kind of in a very nullified or neutral position at the moment. Okay. And all that stuff still works. So for the most part, everything is still pretty good. So in a way, you know, my refresh button here, if I select anything here, the two buttons right now, refresh and search, and that was because of the data binding that I've done up here. If I go to this one here and I hit search, they're doing the same thing right now, but it's asking me to close in this case. So this I could shut off if I wanted, but so for the most part, nothing special. The beauty is we haven't broken anything at this point. Okay. So because this is advanced search, we still have some more work to do inside this, the scope of this try section of our try catch. Okay, because we still want to be able to do some more work in here. Okay. But because there's a lot more to do there, and this video has kind of gone a little bit longer than I want, what I'm going to do is stop there, and I'm going to come back in the very near future and sort of finish this piece off. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna leave it there, and I guess I'm hoping to see you in the next video. Okay, so I'll see you soon.